Hey, Mike Callan here. Wanted to make a quick video about bottom line profits. So whether the industry lawn care or home cleaning, this video is applicable, but industry stats for the lawn care industry is traditionally a 4 to 6 net percent profit margin. Paper thin margins, very dangerous. But what we're seeing is a lot of the clients that we've been talking to and working with is that they're really close to that 15 to 20% holy grail of profit margin in landscape maintenance. But where the bottom line profits are getting left on the cutting room floor is the inability to address, I call the imaginary estimate checklist. So if you're using an example of landscaping and mulch installation, how we're going to break that down is first the depth of mulch. So is it 1 inch, 2 inch, or 3 inch? We'd have a separate production estimating process. So we're going in and multiplying behind the scenes in a price matrix the actual quantity needed based on the depth and the budgeted hours and cost, and basing the product, if there's different types of product that we're using, we have that built out behind the scenes. In addition, we're going to go in and handle bed edging. So maybe it is a per linear foot for hand edging or per linear foot for power edging. We have two different production rates, and we want to be able to account for that and create profitability. The next thing we're doing is maybe going in for hand weeding of a bed that's already been maintained or a bed that has not been maintained. We have different production rates. So instead of saying, well, it's all going to come out in the wash, it doesn't matter, we just need to get a price out quickly. Well, in my opinion, that's really a cheap excuse. We need to spend the time up front and define the estimating process for predictable profits and results. And then the final part is, what about the drive time mobilization? So if you're wondering why at the end of the year your profit margins are dwindling down to single digits, my guess is you are possibly not accounting for all the things you need to in your estimate. And going in and accounting for each imaginary step and having a process like an on-site estimate form is going to be the key to success for creating bottom line profits that are double digit and more and predictable that can be reported on. Very similar in the home cleaning industry. A lot of times where we're working with folks in home cleaning, and very applicable to lawn care as well, is the drive time between the homes or commercial properties is not being accounted for. And it's very tough, whether you're paying in a piece rate pay system or hourly, that those cleaners need to have some budgeted time for mobilization, especially if you're in an urban or city area where you need a place to actually park the cleaning vehicles. That takes some time. So we're looking at how do we just define a process of an imaginary checklist that the estimator or the office can use to create predictable production rate based estimating. And the big ones are, we need to define like a mulch example, the different depths and how long that'll take and the quantities needed, the different products. So if there's a range, you want to define each product with its cost. The bed edging, while you're doing it by hand or by power edger, two different production times. Going to be double the production with the power edger. Now there's going to be some additional cost for that machine, and that needs to be figured in there as well. Drive time and mobilization. So whether you've got the materials at your shop or you're going to a nursery, those things need to be accounted for. But if it's your shop, don't say, oh, well, we got somebody in the yard and they just load it with our skid or our tractor. Those times need to be taken care of in yard expense or yard time. Now, maybe that's already configured in your general administrative costs and it's recovered there and you don't want to double dip. But if you haven't, that should be applied for a time in that estimate behind the scenes. And maybe removing or disposing debris as well. So the idea on the video today is, don't just assume that everything is going to work out in the wash at the end of the day and we can throw a price on it. And each job is like, this job needs a lot more weeding, but the other ones didn't. So it's all going to come out in the wash. Predominantly what you're doing is you're setting yourself up for failure. And that happened in the early days of my business. Is I thought it would all just kind of work out on average, but it doesn't. And traditionally what you do is you end up bidding that way and you win the least profitable jobs that way. And traditionally, the jobs that you aren't suited to do, you end up winning as well. So it's a compounding effect. So the advice today is go out, take the time, define each steps of the job, create a production rate based estimating system on it based on square footage, linear feet. And if you don't know what that is yet, that's okay. Base it on your experience, how many minutes or hours you think it's going to take, but have a non-emotional way of plugging in the minutes or hours. And when you pull up the estimate, it calculates the price, budgeted time, and cost before profit. So hopefully things here in upstate New York open up. I'm rocking some crazy COVID here with going on about 10 weeks. So hopefully things loosen up here in New York like they are in the rest of the country. But if you are in New York or any of the areas that are in pretty much lockdown still, stay strong. Thankfully, the service industry, lawn care, home cleaning are deemed essential, and folks are out there making the money and helping their consumers have great-looking landscaping or clean homes as well. So comments, questions, drop below. Hopefully it was helpful. Don't erode your bottom line profits. Take the time to create a standardized estimating system based on a production of units or minutes of hours based on your experience if you don't have a production rate-based estimating system defined and built out quite yet.